Farage made an appearance on a podcast and shared a lot of information that we have been discussing at British Stand. In today's video, we thought we would watch Farage reveal Keir Starmer's TwoTier state as he doubles down on what this Starmer regime is all about, after he discussed the Southport killer cover-up throughout the summer. Before we watch the video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and become a part of our rapidly expanding community. Something really strange is happening here. Just a brief note to let you know that we have fresh Stuck Farmer t-shirts in stock. You can get them right now at British.com or by clicking the link in the description. In this video, Nigel Farage exposes the obvious two-tier justice and two-tier policing under TwoTier. He compares the swift arrests and charges after Southport to the violent thugs who attacked armed police at Manchester Airport. Have a watch. He has got that reputation of being TK. What angers me, and I think a lot of the British public, is that he had made no hesitation whatsoever within days, almost immediately, after the riots, of saying that it was far-right thuggery, and now he's being painstakingly careful not to prejudice now when he said it was far-right fooger. That was before any convictions were made, so I would say, isn't that contempt of Cour? As far as I know that was the opinion, but look, you know, this labeling of everybody as far-right doesn't work anymore, it's hollow, but we saw all of his instincts, and his regime of fear has worked. It has shut people up. People are really scared. People that I've spoken to in and around Southport, relatives of those who've been involved in some way, are all too scared to speak in public. Yeah, so he was effective. Yeah, his reign of as it were was effective, but it won't last forever. Yeah, can do you? He says there's no such thing as two-tier policing. Even Priti Patel says there's no such thing as two-tier policing. Is he wrong? Was two-tier what happened to the Manchester attackers back in July before Southpaw? We had a violent yobby at Manchester Airport, where police were brutally attacked and a policewoman had her nose broken. The police then took control of the situation, and all you saw was a video of a police officer stamping on someone. Of course, he was stamping on him, and if you have a gun in your hand, you do not engage in combat with your other arm. If you lose the gun, you use your feet, knees, or any other means, because it looked terrible. Manchester police were against their own officers, but because the assassins, you know, have a particular skin color and a particular religion. We are now in mid-November, and the CPS has not filed any charges. Compare that to what you just said regarding the promptness of the arrest and sentencing following Southall. If that isn't two-tier pleasing, I don't understand it, and two-tier justice under two-tier care. I'm not sure what you think of this two-tier society we live in. Please share your thoughts in the comments section or in other news. Following his appearance at the COP29 climate conference in Baku, Aban this week with a few other world leaders, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has come under fire from Jeremy Clarkson, 64. During his time at the summit, Starmer also insisted that the climate challenge is something that we have to rise to, which is why I've repeatedly said that we've got to show leadership. However, as Clarkson highlighted and mocked in his most recent column, the likes of the USA's President-elect Donald Trump, he is by no means the only public figure to publicly mock Starmer for traveling 2,500 miles to attend a climate change summit rather than addressing pressing domestic issues like the upcoming farmers' protest in response to the budget. Speaking to the media, Starmer defended the decision to attend the summit rather than remain in the UK to try and address the problems facing the country at home. But Starmer's defense and justifications haven't held up, as he ruthlessly explained in The Sun that saying it was a conference for world leaders is equivalent to saying you're hosting a gathering of global rock bands without the Stones. To the WHO Were Led Zep. Clarkson started by saying that the majority of the other presidents and prime ministers had avoided the conference because they were well aware that it would only consist of numerous developing world leaders declaring that they are powerless to stop global warming unless the West gives them $100 trillion and their wives some jewelry. When asked what Starmer's true reason for going was, Clarkson said it was all a virtue signal, telling the 8 people back home who still support him that he's got their back aside from this. When asked who benefited from the summit, the Grand Tour frontman sarcastically said that the local hotels would have undoubtedly moved a lot of locally sourced caviar, while the airport's oil sales and the roaring trade of Baku's night ladies were other beneficiaries. In the end, Clarkson summarized that the weather would continue to get increasingly crazy and that people would still think that if they brought their own bags to the grocery store, they would actually make a difference. Then few National Farmers Union had to resign for legal reasons, but that didn't stop independent farmers from planning to protest the government's tax measures in Westminster later this week. Clarkson has been a vocal critic of Reeves and her budget since it was announced, and his latest tirade against Starmer comes just days after he promised to support his fellow farmers and take to the streets of London later this week to protest the inheritance tax raid detailed in her budget. Last month, when Reeves announced the budget, Clarkson's farm co-star Caleb Cooper also responded angrily. Finally, a royal analyst remarked that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle appear to wear out their welcome wherever they drop their anchor, whether it be Portugal or Canada. Frogmore or Montecito after Donald Trump was elected triumph as concerns about the Duke's U.S. visa status surface. Cohen addressed the media as the investigation into Prince Harry's immigration status in the U.S. heats up. Earlier this year, Trump implied that he could take appropriate action regarding the Duke's visa if he had lied about using drugs in the past. The controversy surrounds Harry's admissions of using cocaine and marijuana in his memoir, which requires applicants for a U.S. visa to disclose any prior drug use. Trump said that Harry would not receive any special privilege if he had omitted such information, speaking to Nigel Farage. What are your thoughts on the topics covered in today's video? If you haven't already, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Trump stated that we'll have to see if they know anything about the drugs and that if he lied, they'll have to take the appropriate action. Thank you, take care. Goodbye.